Ciao, I'm Kate Portanova, your host, Italy Experience Guide, and lifelong lover of all things Florence. This podcast is your ticket to discovering the authentic side of Florence and Italy, one story, one dish, and one piazza at a time. Whether you're dreaming of sipping espresso in a bustling cafe, wandering cobblestone streets filled with history, or connecting with locals to experience La Vera Italia, you're in the right place. Join me as I share my journey of living, breathing, and embracing Florence's beauty, culture, and charm. Along the way, we'll explore slow travel, cultural immersion, and the simple joys of Italian life, with plenty of insider tips and heartfelt stories to inspire your next adventure. So grab your cappuccino, before noon of course, and let's dive into the magic of Florence together. Ciao, everybody. It's Katie from Truly Italy and Florence and Me. Today, I thought I'd record a very important episode, why we're moving to Italy. I've gotten a lot of emails and questions through different means, and I want to give you the lowdown of why me and Stefano have decided that it's time for us to move back after 12 years, which is incredible. So as opposed to all the pictures and videos and stuff that I'm posting on my socials, we haven't left yet, as much as it seems like we have. We're still looking for an apartment to have in this town that we want to live in, because we do have a house we need to sell, and also we need to empty this house. So we need to spend time donating items we don't need anymore because we're going to go to a smaller space, or sentimental things. And then also, what are we keeping? And when our house goes on the market, it's going to go really fast. And we're taking our time on purpose, because moving across the ocean a second time is a little different when you have 3 cats, a husband, and a lot of other stuff that you have to go through. So this is the part nobody really talks about when they talk about moving abroad or moving to a different state or moving to a different country, the long middle before the move actually happens. And that's where we are right now. And I want to tell you the real story of how we got here. So yeah, listen along. As some of you know, Stefano and I left Florence in 2013 because of a dire need to make more money. Italy's job market was not good. Stefano had started his partita IVA, which was like an LLC type of account, and we weren't making a lot of money. We used most of our money to spend on the taxes that you have to pay in advance before you make money in Italy. I was still teaching English, and I was really sick of it. I was sick of the Italians yelling at me because this doesn't sound right. Why do you Americans say it like this? And obviously it was a means to an end. I was not planning on teaching English forever in Florence. I mean, in our lives at that moment, Stefano really had an idea in his mind and said, hey, I know you don't want to go back to your hometown, but maybe this is our chance to make, a good living, save it, and then retire back in Tuscany, which was exactly what we wanted to do. So we did that. After visiting Florida with my family in June of 2013, he saw this amazing possibility to make a living and perhaps be able to save, because in Italy, when we were living there, we were not saving. So that was another reason why that kind of pushed us for him to find somebody to rent his house in Florence, and then have his dad be the power of attorney when, for rent purposes, and the contract with the tenants and all that stuff. What we were trading when we did that, we were trading our slow life in Florence to a fast life with not a real social life. After all these years, I mean, my sister moved away, who I'm still real close with, friends with kids. It was hard to get together with. We still have friends here. It's just few and far between. And because of the economic turmoil that's happening right now in the States, it's really hard to just keep your money safe, not spend it so much at the grocery store, and also just to feel comfortable. So in the US, we found obviously money and sustainability at the beginning, and then things have changed. The economic landscape that we have here in the States really has turned me into somebody that is constantly just asking, how much does that cost? Where did you get that? How much is on your credit card? And it's becoming more and more of a fear-based society, as opposed to just living your life and enjoying what is there. So it's cost me my peace of mind, to be honest, to live in this type of fear of not having enough, kind of living paycheck to paycheck with the amount of money that we're making. It's incredible because we used to be the middle class and now we're not. So the fact that when we got here and we got an apartment and then we eventually bought our house, I became very emotionally attached to the fact that I was stuck here and that I would never live in Italy again. And of course that's wrong to think, but that's where my mind went, because I really thought, I'm back in my hometown. I don't really want to be here. I always wanted to stay and find a way to make a life in Florence or in Tuscany, wherever we were going to end up. But in hindsight, hindsight's 2020. But I think what we did was something incredible, because we have made a good living. We've made financial decisions that have helped us to do the things we've been able to do, to travel either abroad or in the States. What did leaving feel like once you were actually gone? When we left in 2013, it felt like I was stuck in quicksand, to be honest. That the life here was pulling me down. I started having a lot of depression. Stefano lost his job once, and just the overwhelm came over me, and I felt horrible for Stefano because of how people treated him. Because as an immigrant, he learned English here. He did not speak any English when he arrived here 12 years ago, and now he's at a leadership role, a director role, supervisor role at the job that he's at, and I'm so very, very proud of him. So why now? Why are we actually... What is the main reason why we're moving back, one might ask? Two things are true and at the same time, and they both deserve some space, so I want to explain it to you as my followers and my listeners. What this does for us that the US cannot is bring us to a place of presence that I try to do on all of my trips. So we're in the present moment. We're being with we're with people in the moment. We're not distracted. We're with ourselves. We're with our friends, and we're focusing on something other than screens. I've had friendships since 2002 there, so I really think this is not like when I moved over in 2009, like a leap into the unknown, because I really didn't know how long I was going to be living there, because I had a job lined up, but who knew what was going to happen. So I feel like we're going back to people that mean a lot to us, but also the pace of life that back when we were living in Florence, it was hard because we weren't really paycheck to paycheck. But I think that in and of itself, I feel like it's not, we know what to expect when we're moving back there because we know what the economy is like. I mean, all over the world, the economies are struggling because of what's happening, not the fault of our government. It'll mean a lot to us just to go back to what we already know. The only things that we have to worry about is a job and also finding a place to live. So when did someday stop being a hypothetical? Meaning, when did I decide, or we decide, that we wanted to kind of push this date up? It was when the fear of losing my partner, my husband, became really real. And those of you in Europe, you probably don't see a lot of the videos that have happened in the past year or so, but this is what's really triggering for a lot of people that have immigrant husbands, spouses, wives. And I want to give you an honest take of how I feel about what's happening in this country right now. So was there a specific moment I was very fearful? Yeah. When our new, not my president, decided to start kidnapping people off the streets in Chicago, in Minneapolis, now in Houston, in Maine, all over the country. That was where it started to hit me hard, because they're just picking up people because of what they look like and if they have an accent. So what does it actually feel like to live with that fear? It makes me tense every single day. And also makes me sad that I can't feel safe in the country that I was born. And also I'm feeling completely helpless. There were a few times coming back from Italy with Stefano where last year and this year I had full-blown panic attacks on the airplane and the day before we left, because we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen when we arrive. The last time global entry was down, which we both have global entry, and I didn't know if ICE was at the airport or not. So it was very emotional. I had reached out to all of my family that are in Chicago, that if something was to happen, that somebody would have taken Stefano from me at the airport.
that I would need support. And luckily I had those people. How do I talk about this with Stefano? Well, when it was in the peak of all of this, which was last summer, I had asked him to talk to his boss at his job. And I said, ask what the process is if ICE comes to your place of business. And he reassured me that his boss had protocol, that they were not allowed, but you just don't know, right? You just don't know what would have happened if they did. And so like I said, I had panic attacks left and right all last year just by the sheer amount of people that were innocently taken off the streets away from their families. And I am still honestly scared because you don't know, because they're still doing it. Stefano was very strong and he didn't want to get me upset. But he felt how the heaviness of this and how I was getting very emotional and had these panic attacks that made him then to start thinking, okay, maybe it's time. Maybe we should start thinking about going back. It's going to be hard. We know, but let's start looking for a house. And like we have money from the selling of his dad's house. Let's start looking for an apartment. And then we had all these ideas coming to us. So we felt then we were on the right track. So the fear is real when you have a partner who's legally here. A lot of these people that are detained right now are legally here, hasn't committed any crimes. And I'm still fearing for his life, because this administration is actually putting innocent immigrants, innocent people into prisons, camps for no reason but bigotry, prejudice, and just outright racism. It's really hard to think that we've come to this point. I think the world as a whole knows that this is wrong if they're aware. And I don't know whoever listens to this, if you are actually aware of what's happening in the States. It's something that I never thought I would experience in my lifetime. So the trade-off of going back, this is where I call in my adventure part of myself, because I know this is going to be a difficult step. Difficult in other words, I think. Difficult just because we have no lifeline there. Nobody to lean on like we did here with my parents. So that's what I mean by difficult. So the economic reality we're walking back into is the fact that Italy still doesn't pay well. We are aware. All of our friends are telling us to second guess coming back because it's hard. The job market is harder right now. We're not in our 20s. We're not young. So Italy isn't a country that pays well. It's not, because of the high taxes and everything that comes from being employed by a company. They don't want to pay those high taxes. So they pay people a lot less. And also, as older Italians, as we are, Stefano will be 50 this year, they're not usually hired as much in Italy because they expect to be paid more, and organizations don't really want to pay people more. Doesn't matter what your skill set is. Professionally, what I'm scared of not having a job to pay for our daily necessities. I have an idea of what I want to do with my business with Truly Italy, but it's going to take some time to grow. And I know when I have time to do that and I don't have a full-time job like I do now, that kind of takes away my energy and my time to focus on my podcast or focus on, emails and marketing and stuff like that. It will be easier, but also harder, because I'm going to try to make something work that hasn't been consistent yet financially for me since I started this in 2019. What makes it worth it anyway? I believe I will find what this adventure is going to help me find is grounding and connection with people. Because me and Stefano, we just got off a call with one of his best friends, and he's like, go out and do stuff, go out and meet people. And I'm like, yeah, we can. We're being a little pessimistic, I feel like, just because of the climate that we're in, but it's also expensive to just go out and meet people. We are trying to save money so we can afford to ship things over, to ship our cats over. Like, there's a lot of expenses to that. So yeah, we're kind of taking away our social life, to kind of say the least, I guess, to save and then just enjoy our time together with our family, something low key, and try not to spend money. I feel when I get there, I'll feel this grounding and connection with the people of this town, and I will feel hopefully less anxious and happier. But knowing myself, I'll probably be anxious about other things. But still, that is my hope for this. So what would I say to somebody that's going through the same thing as what I am? If someone was in my shoes and about to take the leap into the unknown and perhaps maybe never been abroad or lived abroad, I'd say do it. Because you have nothing to lose, especially if you're young, especially if you're in your 20s, late 20s, 30s, do it. I mean, political climate or not, I think it's an important step to open yourself up into the world and meet a whole bunch of different people, learn different cultures. Europe, just like America, is a melting pot. So there's so many people that I met in Florence that I never would have met if I just stayed in Chicago. What do you know that they might not know yet about moving abroad? Well, I think the best things in life happen when you take the risk and leap before you know where you are going to land. I did that exact thing in 2009 when I moved to Florence to live with a friend. I met through Skype, if you guys remember Skype, my friend Marco, and he took me in and found me an apartment. We lived together for a while, and I made a life for myself, and I do not regret a single second I struggled when I was there from 2009 to 2013. I had friends, close friends that took care of me, and I remember my friend Laura. If you listen to this, Laura, you know this moment probably, but I remember waiting for her outside of her work and in tears going, I can't make rent, or I forget exactly what I couldn't make. There was something that I just didn't have enough money to pay for something, either a utility or something. And she helped, she gave me money. Like, that's what friends do. And you meet people like that, which is really important when you don't have the support system in the same country. You know, a close friend of mine once said, who was my philosophy professor, who I still talk to. Actually, no, not this one. This is a different quote. Close friend of mine said recently she has been doing a bit of moving in her life. And she said this amazing phrase that I'm taking from her, and I'm going to quote her, Ashlyn: exposure leads to expansion. So taking the time to expose yourself to something that it is completely out of your comfort zone, which a lot of what I'm saying right now is out of my comfort zone because I did not want to talk about the political climate. I did not want to bring up racism, but you know what? It's the honest truth why we want to leave and we want to sell this house and we want to just start anew, which again is also exciting. Starting over like my friend Ashlyn has done in the past year a couple times. It's scary until when it's not. Like, it's up into that moment of resistance. You feel the day she was leaving her last house, she said, I had this resistance of leaving, just looking around at this empty apartment. And then all of a sudden she was in a new house and she felt comfortable. It was just that last bit of like resistance, just telling you like, you're doing the right thing. You need to feel this in order to move to that next step. And that's exactly what I will be feeling when we leave this house, because I love our house here. Very special. And my other amazing philosophy professor friend, which I was going to say, he wrote to me when I was trying to decide if I should move to Florence in 2009. And he said, I think the most important decisions is doing it the bloody hard way, which was a quote from a philosopher, Wittgenstein, I think that's what it was. And I've taken that quote with me everywhere because life is worth taking the risk instead of staying in your comfort zone. I've always believed that, as much as it sucks, because leaving your comfort zone is really hard when you're with the amenities and the things that you have in your life and going someplace where there isn't the things that you're used to. You have to adapt and you have to figure out a way to make your life complete with less or with more or with limited resources. I think that's just the most amazing quote. So next, where we are right now. We are, like I said at the beginning, we are looking for an apartment in this town we want to move to, which we will then turn into an Airbnb to add as an extra income for us. And then once we find that, the real work begins. Deciding what we're keeping, deciding what we need to donate, and what we're letting go of, which is going to be a real challenge for me because I need to let go of a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff in this house that needs to be let go of. Then when the house goes on the market, like I said, it's going to go fast. In this area where we live on a golf course. It's going to go fast. And that's when the real anxiety and probably panic will come over me, which will be scary and happy and exciting at the same time. Fearful, exciting, happy at the same time. So what does it feel like to be in this charged, uncertain middle where it's real, but not yet irreversible? It feels really exciting and also quite daunting. I feel a lot is on my shoulders because us women know we're in charge of everything. I'm in charge of the money. I'm in charge of all of our saving buckets. Like, we have a bunch of things that we're doing. As much as Stefano is like the go-to, determined when I need something, he'll do it. I'm the one that sits back and I'm pensive about things. Like what recently happened, we almost did buy an apartment And that kind of fell through. And it's because my body was reacting to, no, this is not for us. And I listened to it. I honestly talked to Stefano about it, and he was okay. He had the same kind of apprehension and doubts of this place, but he was in this place of, I just want to go. I just want to go now. And I'm like, we can't just go now. We have a lot to do to get everything ready for us to go and be comfortable going. I fully believe in not leaving anything urgently or accepting things urgently. Like that whole sales pitch, which I'm sure all of you know, is like, we only have 2 spots left. You only have 2 days left. There's only 5 minutes left. I hate doing that to people, and I hate feeling that in my body. Because if it's not right for me, pushing me to do it isn't gonna feel better after I buy it. I'll give you one other example. I bought a short course on how to nurture an email list, because I'm still trying to nurture you that are on my email list so you can get to know me better and get to know you better, and just for you to write me more and talk to me more. And thanks to all the ones that do, like Diane and Taylor, and there's a few others that have emailed me personal stories that have really meant a lot to me, just to know there are other people like me out there. When I bought this course, this woman who is selling this course is a well-oiled machine. She's like a 7-figure multi-millionaire. And so she was, taunting me with all these deals. And I'm like, I can't spend another this or another that. And as much as it's like something I will have for life, this type of course, I'm just like, not right now. I don't need this now. For one, I have no time to do this now because I work full time and I'm trying to focus on our trip coming up. And so the urgency of going without knowing and without some place to call home is not how we want to do it. Some people do it that way. I don't want to do that way. I always had a place to stay when I moved to Florence. And when we move to Tuscany, we will have a place to stay. I'm not just going there and renting. We're not going to do that. So because it's daunting, we want to move into a place that I can see my 3 cats being comfortable, not cramped, where we have to get used to living in a smaller space. I know, but I'm thinking of all the things that are going to affect my emotional state, and my cats are my babies. So I think about them. I think about how I'm going to feel in a space where we're going to probably live for a little bit until we can find something we can buy outside of the town. And I got to be okay with that. And I want to feel that place. I want to feel what it feels like to be in that place. So that's why we have to be there. And just like the house that we have right now that I love so much, I knew exactly when I walked into this house that we needed this house and that this was our home. And I'll know when I feel it, especially when we walk through those doors of that future home. So in closing, I don't know yet what the apartment will look like for us in Radicondoli, or what it'll feel like to actually close on it, or what we'll do with all our precious things we will be bringing over. I'll tell you when I do. And that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for listening and following along. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I have this as a video too. If you wanted to see me kind of almost ugly cry, you can. But grazie mille a tutti voi. Allora, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, wherever you are. And I'll see you on the next podcast. A presto. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Thank you for joining me on this journey through the heart of Florence and beyond. I hope today's episode has inspired you to slow down, embrace authentic travel, and connect with the beauty of Italian culture. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the magic of Florence and me with your fellow travelers. Until next time, remember, the best way to travel is slowly. Ciao for now. See you in the next episode.